Feels like we're living in a sci-fi movie sometimes, you know? AI this, AI that, it's everywhere you look. But what's really going on beneath the surface?
It's about separating the hype from the truly transformative.
Exactly. And today, we're diving into a pretty big shift in the AI landscape, what Sequoia Capital calls the reasoning era.
Basically, AI that can think strategically, like a chess grandmaster plotting their next move.
We've got Sequoia's latest report, even some insights from their report for Chinese markets, both pointing to this fascinating trend, AI evolving beyond just pattern recognition, moving towards actual reasoning.
Like AI is graduating, moving from that quick thinking to a deeper, more deliberate kind of thinking.
Instead of those early programs that were basically just really good at spotting patterns.
Right, now we're talking about AI that can analyze a problem from all angles, strategize, even come up with solutions that we might never have considered.
So before we get too far ahead, let's rewind just a bit. Remember all the excitement when AI first really hit the scene, everyone was going crazy. Now the dust is settling a bit, and like Sequoia points out, that foundational layer of AI, it's starting to solidify.
Exactly. The big players, your Microsofts, OpenAIs, Googles, DeepMinds of the world, they're solidifying their positions. And that's actually really important because it sets the stage for the really cool stuff.
The reasoning layer.
The reasoning layer, where AI can really flex its cognitive muscles.
And this is where it gets really interesting. Sequoia highlights OpenAI's latest model, O1. You might have heard it called Q-Star or Strawberry in some circles.
It's a prime example of this shift towards AI that can reason.
It's like O1 has been hitting the books and knows how to ace a test by actually thinking through the tough problems.
What's remarkable about O1 is its use of something called inference time compute.
Okay, in English now, what does that even mean?
Essentially, it means the model can pause, take some time to think things through, and then respond.
Just like we do when we encounter a complex problem, it's not just relying on what it memorized during its training, right?
Precisely. And what's even more fascinating is that the longer this model can think, the more profound its reasoning becomes.
Hold on, are we saying that if we gave this AI more time to think, it could potentially strategize on a level we haven't even seen?
Imagine AI strategizing for hours, days, even years on end.
Wow. Sequoia actually calls this a new scaling law, that the more thinking time an AI has, the more powerful it gets. It's like we're not just limited by the data or the processing power during the initial training anymore.
We're talking about AI that can continuously learn and adapt, much like humans do, as it encounters new challenges.
Okay, so we've got this stabilizing foundational layer and this new era of AI that's not afraid to think slow. But it's not just about raw processing power, is it? It's also about how these systems are structured, how they organize all that information.
Exactly. You need a framework, a kind of cognitive architecture that's tailored to the task at hand.
So are we moving away from these giant AI systems that try to do everything?
Think of it more like building specialized AI droids, each with its own brain, optimized for a specific job. They have their own ways of working, just like we do.
Almost like we're assembling a dream team of AI specialists. So where does that leave us, the users? What does this mean for the average person or business using software every day?
That's where it gets really interesting, because this goes beyond just technology. Sequoia calls it service as software. It's a complete shift in how we think about software and services.
Service as software. Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
Think about how the cloud changed everything. How we went from buying software to subscribing to a service, your SaaS.
Software as a service, got it.
AI takes that a step further. Now, companies aren't selling software, they're selling the outcome of AI doing the work for you. It's like having an expert on demand.
Can you give me an example? How would this service as software actually work?
Imagine a company like Sierra. Instead of selling customer service software, they provide AI-powered agents that actually resolve customer issues. You have a problem, Sierra's AI swoops in, solves it, you pay for the result.
So it's less about having the tool and more about getting the job done. Fascinating. But what happens to all the companies out there built on those traditional software models?
Sequoia draws a parallel to the emergence of cloud computing. Remember how some traditional companies were slow to adapt and got left behind?
They probably thought they could just move their software to the internet and call it a day.
This might be a similar situation. They highlight a company called Day.ai that's doing AI-powered CRM. Traditionally, setting up a CRM was complex and expensive, but Day.ai's AI builds a custom CRM just for you. based on your emails, calendar, and a few questions.
That sounds incredibly efficient. So if this service as software takes off, where are the investors putting their money?
Sequoia suggests less opportunity in the infrastructure layer. It's dominated by the giants like Google and Amazon.
Yeah, good luck competing with that.
The real sweet spot is the application layer companies building those innovative solutions using these powerful AI models.
Like Harvey, the AI lawyer we've talked about before, or Glean, the AI work assistant.
And of course, Factory, with its AI software engineers. These are just a few examples of this services software revolution in action.
It's an amazing time to be following AI, wouldn't you say? But we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about some of the potential downsides. What could possibly go wrong with all of this? You're right, we can't just get swept up in all the cool stuff without talking about the potential downsides. I mean, when AI starts handling these thinking jobs, what happens to the humans who used to do that thinking?
It's a question everyone's asking, and for good reason. As AI becomes more capable, the potential for job displacement is definitely something to consider.
Right, it's easy to get a little anxious about it.
Some experts believe this new wave of technology will actually create more jobs than it eliminates, just like we've seen with previous technological advancements.
Like when we shifted from farms to factories, then from factories to offices.
Exactly. Huge upheaval at the time, but ultimately, new industries and jobs emerged.
So history might just repeat itself.
Well, some argue that this time is different, because AI isn't just automating those manual or repetitive tasks. It's going after the cognitive ones, the ones we thought were uniquely human.
Okay, now that does make things a bit more unsettling. Like, are we all going to be out of a job if AI can write a better legal brief or diagnose illnesses more accurately than a human expert?
That's where the focus needs to be on augmenting, enhancing human capabilities with AI, not just replacing us entirely.
Working with AI, not against it.
And it's encouraging to see many of these new applications positioned as co-pilots, not autopilots.
Co-pilots, I like that. So humans and AI working together, at least for the foreseeable future.
Precisely. Think about the legal field. Instead of AI lawyers completely taking over, what if they help human lawyers with research, document review, those tedious tasks to free them up for strategy and client relationships?
So less about man versus machine and more about man with machine, each playing to their strengths.
Exactly. And this idea of AI as a collaborator, enhancing what we do, it goes way beyond just law, healthcare, education, you name it. AI systems can assist doctors with diagnoses. AI tutors can create personalized learning experiences.
And we can't forget software development itself. Things like GitHub Copilot are already helping programmers write code faster and more efficiently.
AI is changing industries from the inside out, and we're only just getting started.
It's exciting, but all this talk about AI augmenting human capabilities makes me wonder, what happens if they surpass us? What if these reasoning machines become smarter than their creators?
It's a question that's fueled countless sci-fi stories, and honestly, it's a topic that serious thinkers are grappling with today.
Sequoia brings this up too, don't they? They talk about a potential Move 37 moment, like in that Go match between AlphaGo and Lee Sedol, the world champion.
Right, where AlphaGo made this move no human would have considered. At first, it seemed like a mistake, but it led to a decisive victory for the AI.
Almost like it was thinking beyond what we understand.
Right. Exactly. It made people realize AI might not just surpass us in specific areas like games, but in more general ways that could have huge implications.
Okay, that's a bit unsettling to think about. But we're still in the early days of all this, right? We don't need to start panicking and building bunkers just yet, right?
Absolutely. AI has come a long way, but it's still got a long way to go before it reaches anything close to general human intelligence.
Yeah.
And even then, there's no guarantee it'll develop in a way that's a threat.
It's like we're putting our own fears and anxieties onto something we don't fully understand yet.
Right. AI systems are ultimately tools. They're only as good or as bad as the humans who build and use them.
So more than just building smarter AI, it's about building AI that's aligned with our values.
Exactly. We need to make sure these technologies are used for the benefit of everyone.
Speaking of the future, what about those jobs? What advice would you give someone worried about AI's impact on their career? Should we all be learning to code or fix robots?
Those aren't bad ideas, but honestly, the most important thing is to be adaptable and embrace lifelong learning.
So those days of learning one thing and coasting on that for your entire career are over.
The skills that are valuable today might be obsolete tomorrow. It's all about continuously learning, adapting to the changing landscape.
Okay, so what should people be focusing on? besides the obvious technical skills?
Think critical thinking, problem solving, creativity, communication.
The human touch.
Exactly. Those are the skills that set us apart, and they're going to be in high demand no matter what industry you're in.
Finding that balance between technical expertise and those uniquely human qualities.
Be proactive. Don't wait for your job to become automated. Start thinking now about how you stay ahead of the curve, how you can thrive in this new world of work.
Great advice. Be adaptable, never stop learning, and focus on what makes us human. But before we wrap up, I want to go back to Sequoia's report one last time. They end on this really thought-provoking note, almost philosophical. They ask, what happens when AI reasoning surpasses our own, not just in speed, but in those unexpected, innovative leaps?
It's a question that makes you really pause, doesn't it? We tend to think of intelligence as this linear progression.
With humans at the top, naturally.
Right. But what if AI doesn't follow our linear path at all?
What if it veers off, forges its own path to discoveries and breakthroughs that we, with all our human limitations, couldn't even dream of?
That's the big question, isn't it? A little exhilarating, a little intimidating at the same time.
Absolutely. Like we're standing at the edge of this uncharted territory. We can see the potential, but who knows what we'll find?
It's like those early explorers setting sail into the unknown. They had their maps, but they were also venturing into the realm of the unimaginable.
And that's what makes this whole field so fascinating, right? It's not just about building smarter machines. It's about expanding our understanding of what intelligence even is, what it could be.
Pushing the boundaries, exploring the great unknown. This whole journey into the reasoning era of AI, it might lead us to a deeper understanding of ourselves, our own minds.
Wow, what an incredible thought to end on. This has been a mind-blowing deep dive into the world of reasoning AI. You've given us a lot to think about, that's for sure. The opportunities, the challenges, the potential impact on, well, everything.
It's been a pleasure exploring all of this with you. And remember, we're just at the beginning of this story. The future of AI is being written right now, and it's a future we all have a role in shaping.
Very well said. So, until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep asking those big questions. This is The Deep Dive, signing off.